think sometime right around the end of January, early February, and there was still some miniature stuff to be shot. The whole Queen power loader stuff was going to be shot without us, at least Stan Winston's crew guys being there. Since we were already overseas, we decided to take some time, take a few weeks, and just travel through Europe and do some sightseeing, which we did for a few weeks, and then we came back. I stopped off back east for a few more weeks. By the time I got back to LA, it was in the spring, and I remember one of the first movies I went to see after I got back had a trailer for Aliens, and I had no idea it was going to be in the theater. The trailers would be in the theater that quickly. And I do remember just getting this sudden excitement when it first came up. It was a great trailer because it said nothing. It just showed you images and sound effects. And the first time I saw the image of that landscape and realized what it was, my heart started pounding and just got really excited knowing that it was going to be up that quickly.
One of our very first meetings with the studio, Jim came up with a log line, the little catch line for the film, which is "This time it's war." That was Jim. And the great thing is that rather than being intimidated or being driven by ego to say, well, that's not a good idea because it's not my idea, Fox embraced it and said, you know what, you're right. Let's sell this as a combat film. Let's have the advertising embrace that idea, that it's different. Sigourney Weaver with a gun. Let's not try to sell the audience that this is a remake. Let's be very open and clear that this is Aliens. It is rip-roaring combat. It'll scare you, but it'll also get the adrenaline pumping.
Aliens. This time, it's war. I saw it the first time with Jim, Cameron, and Gail, and a lot of the guys who were doing the final checks on the sound and everything at Fox. And I saw the movie, and it was on a giant screen with a great sound and everything else. And I realized that Jim had designed it. He had pretty much was the bride at every wedding and the corpse at every funeral in that movie. I mean, he really was. And I was so taken by it. It was such a tour de force that I couldn't say anything. I mean, I didn't even say I loved the movie. I mean, I was absolutely tongue-tied. And Jim and I walked out on the steps of the Fox screening room, and I said, Jim, I don't know what to say to you, but I guess what I got to do is just write you a letter because I want to rather put it all in a letter. What I'd left omitted was that I loved the movie, but that I really have to say a lot to you about it. And being a lazy actor, I didn't write him the letter because the movie came out. It was a giant hit, and I sort of felt, well, whatever I have to say doesn't matter now. I mean, the reviews are there, everything is there. For 6 months, Jim thought I hated the movie.
I remember me and Michael Bean were over at Fox, and Jim had the whole movie on a video cassette, not like a VHS cassette, but on one of those digital 8 cassettes, so that he could watch it on the plane flying back from London. He could just kind of watch it and study the cut. So we were wrestling on watching this thing, and about the size of a postage stamp, and it looked good on that. So we knew it was going to be great.
I was not supposed to see it. We weren't supposed to see it yet. And I went into the projectionist's booth and watched it through a little window as they were projecting it for the press in New York City, or for somebody. So maybe it was a whatever audience, but I think it was for the press, because I remember we weren't, and I think Bill was there. He could probably tell you. His memory's probably as bad as mine is, but he's always been full of energy, and he was like, God damn, man, that's a goddamn roller coaster ride, motherfucker! It's huge, That's the way that Bill was. Home run, baby, just like his character.
There were no test screenings for the film. We didn't have time.
The first time I saw Aliens was at the premiere down in LA. And I was kind of in a daze because I was 10 years old. There's all these movie stars around me, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who, it was just amazing.
We'd gone to the big hoopla, the big premiere screening. Hadn't seen the whole film before that. So we were all jazzed anyway, but I knew we had a hit movie because we were there with all the suits. I mean, was a tuxedo crowd that night. And I knew we had a hit when the first alien popped out. And the entire audience just went out of their seats in fright.
Throughout the whole filming of the movie, they tried to scare me, and I'd be like, oh, whatever, that's just so and so in a suit, or oh, that's just plastic, or oh, this is this, and all that kind of stuff. And they would make funny noises or throw things at me and do all different kinds of stuff. And there was a scene in the movie that I wasn't in, I never saw being filmed, and it's when they first got to the colony and they go up to test tubes, the big old tubes, and there's face huggers in there, and one jumps forward. That scared me so much. I was like, ah! And James Cameron was sitting behind me, and he tapped me on the shoulder, and that scared me again. He's like, we finally scared you, yay!
We're on express elevator to hell, going down.
When I saw the film, I went down to Hollywood because I went to see it in a big theater.